live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
A pleasant evening and a very warm welcome to the National News broadcast. We are coming to you live from Rupavahini's news studios. I'm Dilanjali Ananda.
A very good evening to you. I'm Charita Vinipurarachi. Now let's move on to the headlines for tonight's news.
Bangladesh Parliament dissolved. Protesters object for a military rule. President says the responsibility of determining the country's future direction lies with the people. Deposit placed for NPP leader Anurakumar Dissanayaka. Special interest rate increased for fixed deposits of the senior citizens. Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna to announce the presidential candidate tomorrow. Construction of the first ever Elephant Pass tunnel begins. Aruna Darshana to compete in the Olympic 400-meter semi-finals to begin at 11:05 tonight. Live telecast on the national television.
On to those and other stories in detail now, and starting off with the top story. The Indian Foreign Minister stated to the Parliament that hosted Bangladeshi Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina made a request to come to India at a very short notice.
Meanwhile, the Bangladesh President has dissolved the Parliament a day after Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina was forced from her power. Bangladesh's parliament has been dissolved a day after Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina was forced from power by a Delhi anti-government protests. The dissolution of parliament, a key demand of protesters, paved the way for establishing an interim government. The country's army chief has promised that an interim government will be formed and new elections will be announced. Key organizers of Bangladesh's student protests have said Nobel Peace Prize laureate Muhammad Yunus should head an interim government after long-time Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina resigned and fled the country. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi chaired a meeting of the Cabinet Committee on Security last night to discuss the Bangladesh situation that has immense strategic ramifications for New Delhi. After Sheikh Hasina escaped from Dhaka in turmoil, Sheikh Hasina landed at the Hindon airbase in Delhi. Foreign Ministers Jaishankar did not mention how long she would stay in the country or what her next steps would be. He further said that India has been a regular contact with authorities in Dhaka over the past 24 hours. Due to the deadly anti-government protests, at least 100 people were reported dead.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe says the responsibility of determining the country's future direction lies with the people. The president made these remarks while taking part in a program organized by the All Ireland Journalists Association. The program was held under the title Gauravartha Harasar. The event was held to facilitate provincial council journalists. During this event, a proposal outlining journalists' problems and suggestions was submitted to the president. He announced plans to establish a media commission which will address the issues and complaints of local journalists and will have the authority to review the service contracts. President Ranil Wickremesinghe said that he never intended to postpone the election despite accusations to the contrary. He said that there was no point in holding elections if those given power flee from their responsibilities. They abandoned their post when offered the position of President and Prime Minister, claiming the country's problems were unsolvable. He said that the political system in the country has collapsed alongside the economy. The president said that when the Soviet economy fell, its political system did too, leading to the bankrupt and breakup of the Soviet Union. Conversely, China implemented economic reforms early on. In a country where the economic system breaks down, the political system falters as well because the two are closely intertwined. He said that the political promises and the ability to fulfill them are closely linked to economic management. The country's economy was severely damaged by policies that effectively sold out the country, similar to the collapse seen in communist countries across Eastern Europe. He said that all must remember that when the economic system collapses, the political system suffers as well. Considering Bangladesh, despite recent turmoil, they should remain supportive and hopeful for a resolution. Even if the challenges persist for a month, the solidarity is crucial, he added. The president said that restoring a broken political system is a complex task. He said that they must acknowledge that the political system is fractured. Currently, most members of the Podujana Peramuna align with him, while only a few support the Samagi Jana Balavege. In recent parliamentary elections, he said that the SJB supported the SLPP candidate over their own party's candidate. Additionally, Tamil parties are fragmented, highlighting the general disintegration of political parties. He said that there is no cohesive party system in the country today. The JVP is currently divided, struggling to choose between aligning with civil society or striking with its traditional roots. Today, the JVP lacks figures like Lenin and Stalin. Only Vijayveera remains. In hindsight, he said that having Lenin and Stalin without Vijayveera might have been preferable, as would have Marx president. The removal of Marx and Lenin, leaving only Vijayveera, reflects the current state of political system, he added. The president said that to ensure steady economic progress, they need to establish a new political system with responsible parties. He said that this is the reason for him to run for the presidential election as an independent. Minister Manush Nanakar said that journalists play a crucial role in country's development. Reflecting on past challenges and current situations like those in Bangladesh, he said that it is clear that President Ranil Wickremesinghe managed Sri Lanka's struggles without restoring to violence. While people face the shortage of fuel, gas and medicine, he said that President Wickremesinghe took decisive actions to ensure their right to essential needs. He said that they regret that they could not address the concerns of journalists during that period. State Minister Shanta Bandara said that during that time, no leader stepped forward to take charge. The situation in Bangladesh today underscores the gravity of the crisis, he added. If President Ranil Wickremesinghe had not assumed office, the State Minister said that Sri Lanka might have been under military command.
The Treasury has extended provisions worth 10 billion rupees to the Elections Commission for the upcoming presidential election. Speaking at a media briefing, Chairman of the Elections Commission, RMAL Rupavahini, said that these funds will be utilized efficiently. Chairman of the Elections Commission, RMAL Rupavahini, said that the provisions include the necessary allocations for the government press, police department and postal department. He said that upon approval from the Commission, the Treasury will make direct payments for these government agencies. He said that the process to accept applications for postal voting is currently underway. He further said that even though the deadline was stipulated on August 5th, considering the possible delays and majority demand, the process has been extended to August 9th, midnight. Accordingly, he requested the applicants to hand over their applications directly to the relevant returning officer. He said that this deadline will not be extended. He also said that accepting nominations will be conducted from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. on the 15th. He added that the submission of objections will be carried out from 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. He said that the immediate guidelines, commands and orders pertaining to the use of state assets have already been issued. He also said that discussions will be held over the guidelines, commands and orders pertaining to the use of state assets and the promotion of candidates with all ministries, additional secretary and state assets and heads of corporations and statutory boards. All district secretaries were convened to the Elections Commission today.
And meanwhile, leader of the National People's Power, Anura Kumar Dissanayake, placed deposits to contest the presidential election today. The deposit was placed by Parliamentarian Vijitha Herath and NPP member Sunil Vatakala on behalf of Parliamentarian Anura Kumar Dissanayake. Parliamentarian Vijitha Herath said that the deposit was placed for the NPP leader Anura Kumar Dissanayake to contest at the presidential election. He said that the nominations will be handed over on the 15th. Parliamentarian Harini Amarasuriya said that they were waiting patiently for this moment after stalling for a long period. He said that the nation will now gain an opportunity to make a historic change.
Cabinet of Ministers approved the resolution to increase the annual interest rate for fixed deposits of senior citizens. The resolution was furnished by President Ranil Wickremesinghe. At present, the interest rate for fixed deposits has been declined to 8.5%. As a result of that, most of the senior citizen account holders have withdrawn their deposits. Accordingly, the Cabinet of Ministers approved this resolution to grant an annual interest rate of 10% for fixed deposits of a maximum of rupees 1 million of senior citizens above 60 years for 2 years. A committee was appointed recently to facilitate necessary arrangements to control the flooding in the Kolonava area. Accordingly, Cabinet of Ministers has approved the proposal presented by President Ranil Wickremesinghe to properly study and implement these recommendations through a relevant responsible institutions. Sri Lanka has been identified by the French government as the most suitable location for establishment of a regional centre for maritime studies. Accordingly, Cabinet of Ministers has approved the proposal presented by President Ranil Wickremesinghe to enter into bilateral agreement with the government of France in respect of establishment of proposed regional centre. It has been recognized that it is desirable to integrate public corporations and statutory boards, information technology systems existing in the public institutions in order to perform the functions effectively. Accordingly, the Cabinet of Ministers has approved the proposal presented by President Ranil Wickremesinghe to use a new mechanism to enter data for the information technology system developed by the public institutions, including public corporations and statutory boards. The Cabinet of Ministers has approved the proposal presented by President Ranil Wickremesinghe to extend the project implementation period granted to the Czech Port City Colombo Private Limited. It has been observed that the government officers retired from January 1st, 2016 to January 1st, 2020 has confronted unjust with salary anomalies. Therefore, the Cabinet of Ministers approved the resolution furnished by President Ranil Wickremesinghe to revise the pension salary of those retired officers.
And meanwhile, Cabinet spokesman Minister Dr. Bandhu Gunawardena says that development projects on the road and infrastructure facilities in the country are being carried out with funds received from foreign loans and grants. Speaking at the Cabinet briefing today, the minister said that the funds collected through the taxes from the public have not been utilized on these projects. Cabinet spokesman Minister Dr. Bandhu Gunawardena said that all development projects pertaining to road and infrastructure are being carried out with the funds received from foreign loans and grants and not from funds collected from taxes. He said that the funds for the development projects have been facilitated through financial assistance from the World Bank and the Asian Development Bank as well as bilateral agreements with other countries. However, he said that the development projects were stalled after foreign countries suspended granting financial assistance due to the inability to make debt repayments. He said that the projects were stalled for 2 years. He said that from the 2024 budget, provisions were allocated by the President for 1,500 km road development project. For the first time in the history, he said that the provisions worth 150 million rupees were allocated for parliamentarians and development committees. He said that with the funding available from international lending agencies, necessary funds have been released for the development project. He said that the Gateway Bridge development project has been resumed with the consent received from the government of Hungary for required funds. He said that this project was stalled due to the debt restructuring process. The minister pointed out that misinformation has been spread over the fund utilization for development projects, as these projects cannot be implemented based on the needs of the politicians. He said that these projects are being carried out according to the standard procedures and guidelines. Responding to a query raised by a journalist regarding a possible division with Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, the minister said that all members continue to remain and function as SLPP members. He said that politically they wish to maintain the current process without leading the country to another crisis. He said that the national policy and the national program have been legalized and a decision has been reached to extend support to the president to continue this process. He said that the Cabinet of Ministers informed their decision to the former President Mahinda Rajapaksa as a party leader, and former president informed them to continue according to their decisions.
General Secretary of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, Sagara Karyavasam, says that the presidential candidate of the party will be announced at 7 a.m. tomorrow. He made these remarks following a meeting with party founder Basil Rajapaksa. General Secretary of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, Sagara Karyavasam, said that the expectation is those who care for the country would return to them. He said that those who do not care for the nation may go to different places. He said that this is the government formed by them, and the power was given to President Ranil Wickremesinghe temporarily to continue President Gotabaya Rajapaksa's term. He said that this government was formed with the care shown by the people towards former President Mahinda Rajapaksa.
මේක අපි හදපු ආණ්ඩුව මේක අපි රනිල්ට අපේ ආණ්ඩුව තුලින් අපි එයාට తాවකාලිකව ගෝඨාභය රාජපක්ෂ ජනාධිපතිතුමාගේ ඉතිරි කාලය සඳහා රට පාලනය කරන්න බලයක් දුන්නා මිසක් මේක මේ වෙන කාගේවත් ආණ්ඩුවක් නෙමෙයි මේක මේ රටට ආදරය කරන ජනතාව මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂ මැතිතුමා වෙනුවෙන් ගොඩනගපු ආණ්ඩුව.
Parliamentarian Sanjeev Vimana said that there was an uncertainty among some of the SLPP candidates. However, he said that by 8 a.m. tomorrow, this uncertainty will be addressed. He said that despite the majority of the MPs, they have the majority of the public with them. Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa said that their candidate will win the election. He said that amidst challenges striving towards the victory is their duty. He said that he is confident about all.
And meanwhile, the Tamil Progressive Collective extends their support to opposition leader Sajith Premadasa at the upcoming presidential election. The collective made these remarks during a media briefing held in Colombo today. Parliamentarian Mano Ganeshan said that according to the decision reached by the Politburo of the Tamil Progressive Collective, their complete support will be extended to Samagi Jana Balavege and its leader Sajith Premadasa. He said that an MOU has also been reached with Samagi Jana Balavege. Parliamentarian Palanidhi Gambaram said that this support will be extended to opposition leader Sajith Premadasa at the upcoming presidential election. He said that they have a strong belief that the opposition leader will serve the nation.
Former local councillors of the Balangoda electorate and divisional organisers of the Sri Lanka Podujana Pyramid have decided to extend their support to President Ranil Wickremesinghe at the upcoming presidential election. A special meeting was held at the Balangoda party office yesterday with the participation of Ratnapura District Coordination Committee Chairman, Parliamentarian Akila Ellavala. They reached this decision during the meeting. Parliamentarian Akila Ellavala requested the members to raise their hands in agreement to support the current president. The SLPP members at the meeting raised their hands in agreement. Parliamentarian Akila Ellavala said that if the country failed to abide by the IMF conditions for the next 5 years, within a month the country would be back in the same situation similar to 2022. He said that the only leader who could face these challenges is President Ranil Wickremesinghe. He said that he is not abandoning the party or its leader, but making a decision on behalf of the nation and continue to support President Ranil Wickremesinghe.
And meanwhile, the Nava Janata Peramuna says that the support will be extended to President Ranil Wickremesinghe in the forthcoming presidential election. The party, during a special beta briefing today, said that they will join to build an extensive alliance in this regard. Deputy leader of the Nava Janata Peramuna, Upatissa Kumaratunga, said that a massive alliance was built by the president with parties which had not worked together in the past. He said that the president gave the solution for the democracy demanded by the youth in the country. He said that this is the election to end generational politics. Propaganda Secretary of the Nava Janata Peramuna Vimukti Jayasuriya said that no leader came forward to take over the country when it was in crisis. However, he said that President Ranil Wickremesinghe confidently assumed the leadership and stabilized the country. He said that he is the only hope to develop the nation. The General Secretary of the Bodu Balasena organization, Venerable Galabudate Jnanasarathera, inquires the inability of opposition leader Sajith Premadasa to work with President Ranil Wickremesinghe, who had previously engaged in politics together. He made these remarks during a media briefing held in Colombo today. General Secretary of the Bodu Balasena organization, Venerable Galabudate Jnanasarathera, said that they have a certain degree of respect towards President Ranil Wickremesinghe for stabilizing the country and restoring the law and order following the Aragalaya. He said that when President Ranil Wickremesinghe is contesting his people, opposition leader Sajith Premadasa is also contesting alongside. He said that if these two entities join together, they could still form a UNP government. He said that if the country is bankrupt, they all should join together to redevelop the nation.
ගන්න පුළුවන් විදියට මේ රට හදලා දෙන්න එපා. මේගොල්ලන්ගේ මේ කයිවාරු අහලා මගේ අම්මේ කයිවාරු ගහන වෙලාවල් වල කොස්පැලටියක් හැදෙනවා. අද වෙලාවට කොස් කනවා රටේ මිනිස්සු. අනෙක් පැත්තෙන් ජනතා විමුක්ති පෙරමුණ.
The first meeting of President Ranil Wickremesinghe's presidential election main operational committee was held in Colombo today. Discussions were held on how to coordinate the election-related activities in the district level. Ministers Prasanna Ranatunga and Mahinda Amaravira, Deputy Speaker Ajit Rajapaksa, State Minister Lasantha Alagiyawana, Parliamentarians S.B. Disanayaka, Honorable Priyadarshini, Nimal Lansa, Rohit Abegunawardena and Dimina Disanayaka, President's Chief of Staff Sagna Ratnayaka, Hambantota District UNP Electoral Organizer Ananda Kularatna were present at this meeting.
And meanwhile, the construction of the first ever elephant pass tunnel was commenced today in Abanpola Kasikote area in Galgamuwa. This project will be carried out under the provisions allocated for the Northern Railway line. The construction of the 10-meter wide tunnel was officially commenced 3 months ago in Abanpola Getadevlula Kasikote area in Galgamuwa. However, due to certain issues, the construction activities were delayed. The national television continued to inquire into this development project. Accordingly, the railway line was removed for reconstruction purposes, and this line was also used as a supply line, which delayed the implementation of the project. Also, the size of the tunnel, identification of a suitable site, preparation of plans and approval process further delayed the construction of the tunnel. However, amidst many challenges, the construction activities commenced today with the participation of Ministry of Roads and Transportation and Railway Development officials and civil society representatives. Following the commencement of the project, it was observed that a number of elephants using the Elephant Pass tunnel to enter the Theka Reservoir. The international television continued to report this to the most appropriate site to construct the tunnel for the Elephant Pass. The site has been identified as a main elephant pass through which elephants cross the Theka Reserve after spending time in Palu Kadawala and Galgamuwa areas.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe outlined Sri Lanka's commitment to achieving sustainable development goals and reaching net zero carbon emissions by 2040. The President emphasized that Sri Lanka aims to lead South Asia in achieving sustainable development goals. He made these remarks while addressing the Environmental, Social and Governance Summit 2024 in Colombo today. The conference was organized by the Colombo University MBA Alumni Association. The conference, held under the theme Sustainable Pathways for a Brighter Future, features presentations from 15 experts in environment, society and governance who are sharing crucial knowledge and innovative solutions for achieving sustainability. During the event, President Wickremesinghe presented the ESG Excellence Awards to micro, small and medium-scale entrepreneurs, recognizing their contributions to environmental, social and governance initiatives.
But while I commend the private sector globally and here for moving this direction, you must also remember the geopolitical situation in the world today seems to be coming in the other direction. All the hurrah of the SDGs and of the Paris Climate Summit and even Glasgow have got stuck. We have not made very much of progress since then. And the situation also is not good. The world is still recovering from COVID-19. Chinese economy is not performing at its best. It will take a few more years. Even the US economy, they talked of a boom, but there is talk now that the job market is disappearing. So if you look at the two major economies in the world, you can't say this very much of Europe either. I mean, they are going ahead, but there are problems. So it's going to take a few more years. So it's in this background that we are looking at the sustainable development goals. How do we achieve them? For us, where are the funds? How many countries can spend money on this? And you see a turnaround. Well, how ESG will be treated, approach if Trump becomes president, is an open question. What is more disturbing was what happened in UK. Under Boris Johnson, the Glasgow conference and the principles were welcomed by everyone. Within 2 years, his own successor, Rishi Sunak, had gone back on everything just to get the right-wing vote from reform, which he failed also. Today you have a new government in UK who seem to want to turn it back, but remember, UK no longer has the money. We've been talking of all the funds that we have to get. We talk at COP27, 28, 29. This time I am going to wear a hat and go there, because each time they mention this, I will raise my hat because it's like an old friend passing me by. I don't think there's anything more you could do, but there'll be a good fight there. How much of money are we giving? We went to Paris for the debt meeting, but results are still not out yet. And to make it worse, I don't know how the Paris Assembly would react to it. But where are the monies that are there? Basically, we've short of money. In the meantime, US alone has spent more money on Ukraine and Israel. Put together, I think that money could have helped us out. Then take what Europe is now giving on this. And we don't know how much Russia has spent. So all that money could have been used. It's not being done. Secondly, the Middle East situation is such. Iran seems to be wanting to retaliate. If you retaliate, it's going to be bad for everyone, including Sri Lanka. I have just got a paper on the repercussions. I don't think anyone would like to read it. Just think of the countries that are worse off than us. Think of a country like Bangladesh, which is in turmoil. I don't want to speak about the politics of Bangladesh, friendly country, but it had to erupt at some time. While Sheikh Hasina has left, I still remember her because she gave us $200 million when we were really in need of money. So I think it's only fair to say some good word about a person who's really down at the moment. I also welcome the fact that Khalida Zia had been released from jail. If Sheikh Hasina had done it long ago, she would have still been Prime Minister. Let's hope there's tranquility in Bangladesh. I have no doubt there's tranquility. We should not panic. In the short term, there'll all be some problems, but then remember we had the same thing in Sri Lanka. We are one of the largest investors. We are providing jobs in that country. So having said that, the world situation per se is not good. But that doesn't mean that Sri Lanka is moving out of it.
National organizations to protect the rights of migrant workers has decided to extend support to President Ranil Wickremesinghe at the upcoming presidential election. These waves were shared during a media briefing held in Colombo yesterday. Secretary to the International Organizations to Protect the Rights of Migrant Workers, Subhashana Subhavikrama, said that over 3 million have migrated abroad for employment. He said that the migrant workers are a decisive vote base for the upcoming election, and he said that following the Aragale, the country needs a leadership which was provided by President Ranil Wickremesinghe. He said that he managed the country without any issues since then. He said that there is no time to look for alternatives. He said that the migrant workers or any organization will not support Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna at this election, and therefore he urged the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna to extend their support to President and elect him for the next 5 years.
Minister Nalin Fernandez says that the price of eggs is gradually reducing in the market with a decision taken by the government to import eggs. The minister made these remarks responding to a query raised by parliamentarian Premanath Sidolawatha over the egg price hike in the parliament today. Parliamentarian Premanath Sidolawatha said that all families usually consume eggs to suffice the protein requirement. He said that the egg prices gradually increased in the recent past. He inquired that steps will be taken to mitigate this issue.
Minister Nalin Fernandez said that in the last 2 weeks the egg prices increased and remained between 55 to 60 rupees. Therefore, he said that a decision was reached to import eggs. He said that with the decision, the egg price has now declined between 40 to 42 rupees. He said that the consumption rate has increased significantly compared to the production. He said that the egg consumption in hotels has increased with the recent tourism boom. He also said that with the increased prices of meat, the consumers have gradually inclined towards eggs at present. Therefore, he said that with the demand, the traders have increased the prices accordingly, and he pointed out the need to increase the egg production to meet the demand.
මිල අධික වීම තුල තවත් පාරිභෝගිකයෝ බිත්තර සඳහා යොමු වෙන නිසා මිලියන 3ක් පමණ බිත්තර දවසකට වැඩියෙන් පාවිච්චි කරන්න කටයුතු කරන නිසා ඉල්ලුම තියෙනවා. ඒ නිසා මේ අය බිත්තර මිල වැඩි කරන්න කටයුතු කරනවා. ඒ නිසා අපි නිෂ්පාදනය මේක වැඩි කරගන්න කටයුතු කරන්න ඕනේ කියලා මතක් කරනවා. මේ දවස්වල
Opposition leader Satik Premadasa said that programs are underway in divisional secretaries to register unemployed graduates. He inquired the legitimacy of the program with an election has been declared in the country.
Minister Susil Premajan said that the Economic Transformation Bill was passed 2 weeks before with the support of the opposition. He said that this bill comprised of the decisions and activities carried out in the last 2 years pertaining to the economic growth, and he said that the country has reached this level from zero liquidity and financial assistance from any other country in April 2022. He said that the program has been initiated, but it cannot be implemented with a short period of time. He said that this will be carried out in line with the economic situation.
So that's all the news we have from Homestead. We'll be back with international stories after this break. At least 5 United States personnel were injured in an attack against a military base in Iraq. United States officials stated that as the Middle East braced for a possible new wave of attacks by Iran and its allies following last week's killings of senior members of terror groups Hamas and Hezbollah. 2 Katyusha rockets were fired at the Ain al-Azad airbase in western Iraq yesterday, 2 Iraqi security sources had stated. One of the Iraqi sources said that the rockets fell inside the base. It was unclear whether the attack was linked to threats by Iran to retaliate over the killings of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh. The United States officials said one of the Americans was seriously injured. United States defense officials said that as many as 7 military personnel and civilians were hurt. Today, Iraq said that it rejects all reckless actions that target Iraqi bases, diplomatic missions and United States-led coalition outposts.
And Australia yesterday raised its terrorism threat level to probable, with the country's top intelligence officials citing a homegrown rise in extreme ideologies. Intelligence Chief Mike Burgess asserted that there was no indication of an
Charita signing off. Good night.
have a good night.